Welcome to a quick noob's guide to the new Carracks. So you just bought yourself a Carrack off the market and you want to hit the ocean. First off, you need to consider getting gear for it. One of the characters that would be available for this, if you have pro points, would be Rabinia here. And you can get basic green gear for the Etheria Carrack from her for 10,000 pro points. Now, you'll most likely not have any sailors either, because this boat is very sailor dependent. So you have your registered ship, you can transport it to a different wharf, you can repair damage, you can change the name if you have a mount change coupon, and the first thing you want to do is take out the boat. This will then place it out on the in front of the wharf, and you can press the board to always get quickly on the boat. Once you have the boat out, you can always buy supplies, which is important for traveling with the boat. You can load cargo, which will then be available for the storage or the inventory. And finally, you want to manage your sailors. Good rule of thumb for sailors is you want the innocent goblins. They really do stare into your soul. But these are generally the best because they give you endurance as a stat. The endurance stat is effectively your speed on the boat. As you can see, if I would disembark this sailor, my speed would go down. If I would put him in 3.8, my speed will go up by 3.8. We're going to quickly go and check where you can hire an innocent sailor. We're going to quickly rush there because innocent sailors spawn in Portaferia at the beach and also in Velia. These are the two locations for the innocent sailors. Your first bet is inside the tavern that you start in the game. We'll see if we get one. You gotta give this a moment usually. They will spawn in like this corner, one over there, one over here, and so on and so forth. It always takes a moment. Sometimes longer than other times. It's kind of a bit odd. Okay, it's going to take even longer because I'm trying to make a video. Thank you, PA. Okay, we'll step out back in. Come on. There they are. So in this case, we got a smart sailor, tough, ambitious, realistic, and quick-witted. So sadly, no innocence. But if you would get an innocent, you can go here, open the shop. You buy a sailor contract certificate for 3 mil. And then you just walk up to the sailor you want and just press the little button called Hire Sailor, and you need this item in your inventory. After that, this sailor is available to you to be placed on your ship. We're going to go back to the ship now. And as mentioned, you would then go in here, manage sailors, and he will be available as unboarded. You then click on him, press board, and he will be on your ship. So we're ready to sail the big ocean. You press the board, and it will usually place you here. If there's a bunch of different boats and you can't really reach your wheel, you can always repress the board button, and it will actually board you on the ship. This is not 100%, but it's a good rule of thumb. Now, we're going to drive out a tiny bit. Because we're going to cover the first few things on your boat. First off, you have 9 cannons, left and right. You can either hold the LMB or RMB to charge up the shot and then fire. But this is a little bit iffy. Easier is, once you have beginner 1, I mean everyone should have beginner 1, you get focus fire. You press Q or E and it just snaps to the left and right of your boat and you get a mouse targeting. So in this case, I can just drive the boat, press Q, snap it forward, and then fire. And it also is a little bit more accurate on the grouping of the cannonballs. Finally, if you're ever transporting people and you got a glitch, you see that little set of doors. When you're standing still, you have a little skill called cabin, Shift E. And when you press Shift E while standing still, it will open those doors at the bottom. You can also do this. And then you can go in here into your little cabin, take a break, or, well, release somebody who's glitched into it. The glitching is less frequent nowadays, but it can still happen. It can also sometimes just log you into your little cabin when you swap back to a character that's already on the high seas. Finally, you have the front, which is used during whale hunting. You generally have people sitting at the front here and shooting with matchlocks. You have your mount information, which will always display your DP, durability, which is the damage you've taken, the current weight. The sailors do take a weight in cabin status, like cabin amount. So this is your limiting factor on your sailors. It will show your accumulated barter count, and here you have rations and cannonball capacity. Rations is you can top up with an emergency supply. You effectively just press this button. It will open and show you all available foods that you have on your person or in your family inventory. You could then select it and then press use, and it will top up the rations by the amount stated. There's a similar system for the cannonballs, which you can get from quests, and it's these breezy crystals. These are not great, however, and there is an option to also create them inside I believe it was in the shipyard? Yeah, here. So you can make a special version of that with glue and shining powder. It is not as viable nowadays, especially with the cannons being easy to restock. You can restock them at any wharf manager. If you're traveling in this area, you have one here, one there, one there, one over here at Quid Island, and you even have one over here at Sawsons. Pretty much any wharf manager. Oh, and Okila. Similarly, in Morning Light, you have a wharf manager in Nampo, one in Bukpo, one over here in Dalbiol. No, not Dalbiol, Nopsebiot. Or Dale Pier. That is what I was thinking of. So you can always restock at any of these points your cannonballs, or even Buk Island, because there's also a wharf manager here and over here on Hamo. There is also an item that you can get from the pirate fleet, which is actually a great place to level your sailors. Megoria pirate fleet. Once you have green gear plus 10, finally, the item that you get there is provided by the big boss, and it will restore 150 cannonballs. However, it is time gated. So it allows you to stay longer on location as long as you have food to restock your supplies. Simply because it will also resupply you with cannonballs while you're out there. Finally, when you take too much damage on the high seas and you need to repair, there is the ship repair material available for you. There's a basic version and then a upgraded version made also in the ship wharf. However, the basic ship repair material is super easy. You just lumber process effectively plywood. Any plywood would work. Once you have this, you go down here and you get a little button called where it says repair. It's usually the F6, and it will just keep repeating the cycle, similar to water collecting, and you just keep repeating that until your boat is full durability again. And that pretty much will covers everything concerning your first Carrack. It's all the basics. Once you return, every time you pretty much want to just say, please recover supplies. It now says you have sufficient supplies to depart, and you're good. If you have equipment, it will also be listed in the side here. inventory and pearl. You can turn this off with this little slider. Most of the time, I like having it on for the boat specifically. And overall, you can later also unlock crystals, which will act like a Vel's Heart. They do lose durability during use, but otherwise they are not enhanced. They will always give you a certain chance. Let's see if we can find one. They're all open. They have effectively these stats: speed, turn, durability, damage to sea monsters, damage to ships, which is effectively the PvP stat. You also have weight limit, and you can get this on a few locations. One is Leckershaw, the mobs drop it here, and Pirate Fleet, and these Siren spawns also can give you some crystals. Okay, that pretty much covers the full guide to your first Carrack, the sort of my first Carrack guide. If you have any further questions, just drop by in the stream and I'll gladly try to answer them, and hopefully you'll have a good time on the high seas. And don't go sinking any other people. It's a pain when trying to recover sailors. Actually, yeah, we'll add one small thing. If you ever have your sailors lose all their durability, so this one's pretty low, I don't want to make sure that he gets 0 and then sick. I can always go to the shop at any of these wharf managers and buy some raisin bread. This raisin bread is fairly cheap. I'll just grab 200 of it. And then you can recover the condition for all. It'll process that. And now he's back full. Should he get fully sick, there is a few options to heal them. One of them is taught to you by Pra here. He tells you about daily how to recover sailors, and he tells you how to make the chowder to heal them. However, the other option, and usually easier option, is to just buy some elixirs of regeneration, which will cure your one sailor and also recover them 100%. But ideally, you don't want your sailors to get sick. They will get sick if you get sunk by NPCs or players, or if you remote collect. During remote collection, it always warns you. You will, well, the ship will sustain damage, and any sailors on board may become ill and unable to board the ship. Also, barter items will be destroyed, equipped gear will not be destroyed, and so on and so forth. So effectively, you want to avoid remote collection. If you can, always bring the boat to a wharf manager, and then afterwards check it in, and then you can transport it to any of the ports in the game. I mean, some of them are quite funny, but transporting it to Crow's Nest would be a little bit weird because it's hard to reach without a boat. But hey, you do you. Overall, I wish to thank you for joining me, and I hope this guide will help you. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can always come by the stream and ask, and I'll gladly help as best as I can. And let's get back to the regular stream content.